Well, might have got the cooler a little dirty tonight. Oh my. Oh, baby.
I don't know if I've mentioned this before or not, but I really love the Pacific Northwest. And hats off to my camera, this was almost dark when I shot this, which is why I had a very difficult time focusing, but it still did a great job gathering light. So, gotta work with what you got.
Hello. Welcome back once again to Columbia Bounty Fishing. You're stuck with me, Brandon, as your host once again. And here we are, back in Southwest Washington on the lower Columbia. And we're leaning into the night bite once again. It treated me so good last week, I didn't even get down here till 10 o'clock tonight. So I've got tonight, I'll go turn in tomorrow. And I'll do some day fishing tomorrow. But I'm also going to do some day napping tomorrow. I fully intend to fish all night tonight and all night tomorrow night. Last week was awesome. If you haven't seen last week's video, I can recommend checking it out. It was a great session. It was a ton of fun. And a lot of fish were caught. Oh, and I'm getting a little love right now. So, if this week could be like last week, if I could just pick up right where I left off. We are about an hour into this session. It hasn't been like lightning hot, but I've already got 5 or 6 in the bucket, so that's a darn good start. Sorry, got to keep an eye on the rod. Now, in last week's video, I promised I'd give you guys some ideas about getting some of this bait of your own. And there's a couple of ways to do it. Surefire, best chance of getting it. Obviously, you could go out and catch your own salmon. I do pikeminnow fishing all summer, and when fall hits, I switch over. I start doing a ton of salmon fishing. Sorry, I'm still getting bites. Anyway, I go salmon fishing, and every salmon I catch, I save the eggs, the heart, the bloodline, and the liver. And, have a decent fall. I've got enough eggs and etc. to last me through usually the first month or so of the season. Another way that's a good way to get bait, especially if you're a pikeminnow fisherman and you spend all your time chasing pikeminnow in the summer. Most of us have buddies that fish. Talk to your buddies. I'm sure one of them would be more than happy to save his guts for you because they're just throwing them overboard anyway.
Oh, I did it again. It's good to have friends in the salmon world. That is all the eggs, hearts, liver, milt, more liver. I'm going to turn that into $1,000 worth of pikeminnow. Well, this fall or next year. Welcome back to the night bite. We have changed location to the pier, so I have better light for shooting a little video. The last spot was dynamite, but it was also pitch black. And as people have pointed out, you've seen my little rod holder fork and nothing, way too much. So I came over here where you could see a little better. And you know what? It's pretty dark over here too. Finally got one to cooperate. Whoa. The other nice thing, they seem to be running a lot bigger than they have the last couple trips. That's pushing 12 inches right there. That's a juicy boy. We got another cooperative participant. Easy there, big boy. Yeah, they're definitely running bigger this week than they were last week. Another foot-long fish. All right. I think I just lost a fish because I was fiddling with the camera. Did I? Did I? No. He's just smaller than the last few. That's okay. That's gonna keep. Funny, there was other people fishing the pier tonight, and they left just before the bite turned on. Pretty darn good bite going on. Why? Because night bite, that's why. There he is. Yep. We're going the wrong direction, but that's still a keeper. Oh. They just keep coming. Number 21.
So after turn in, I went and met some friends for breakfast. I then changed back into my stinky fishing clothes and headed back to the river to see if I could recreate my previous session.
I am currently standing where I was catching fish last night. 6 hours ago, the water went up to my neck right here. We fished out deep and, caught some. And I started noticing fish boiling right against the bank here, up underneath this tree. I used a bobber, started floating bait up underneath this tree on the outgoing tide, and I pulled a ton of fish out of literally where I'm now standing. And the water line is 20 feet down from me. It is unbelievable. Years of doing this, and I am still mystified, blown away, shocked every time it happens. Big tide changes right now, and there's fish jumping. When I was down the last couple weeks, it was very gentle tide changes, like, subtle 4 foot. Right now we're getting 8 and 9 foot tide swings. And again, I would have been neck deep right here 6 hours ago and pulling fish off of this tree. This place is such a trip.
Now here's this exact same spot I was just standing in, but 5 hours later. We've had about 8 feet of tide change come in, and unfortunately the fish did not come in like they had the last time, but I did find them, and once I did, I launched the kayak and I got out and put an absolute hurting on the fish. And as I was putting this video together, I realized it's almost identical to last week's, and last week's was long, so rather than repost exactly what you saw last week, or if you haven't seen last week's video, I suggest you watch it. I show you how I break down the water, what bait I like to use, everything that went into catching a mess of fish last week. It was the exact same thing this week, so check that out.
I don't know what these are, species-wise, but there's these shells left behind from these large flies of some sort that have been coming up to the surface. And I think the pikeminnow were feeding on them.
I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, but I really like the Pacific Northwest. It's probably come up. What a great place to live. What a great place to raise my kids. What a great place for friends and family to come visit me. Hint, hint, friends and family who need to come visit me. The stretch of Highway 4 between Longview and Long Beach is an insanely beautiful drive. I saw 4 different herds of elk just in the last 24 hours. I caught so many fish in the last 20 hours. Excuse me if I'm a little slow right now. I'm at the end of a 22-hour session and I can't hardly see straight. But this stretch out here is just, even if I wasn't pikeminnow fishing, I would still come camping out here. I would still weekend out here. It's just amazing. All these tiny little towns on this strip, and I've fished at all of them. I've met local fishermen at all of them. I've met local people. And this is a surprisingly welcoming corner of the state. It's just amazing out here. And in the last couple weeks, I've actually had several people recognizing me from YouTube, which has been awesome because all but one of them have been really cool. Some of them are east side fishermen that fish over on the eastern half of the state. Some of them are people who have just been wanting to check it out and feel like I've given them the first steps. And I've fished with guys now that I've never met before, and we've now talked for hours. If you're some of the people I've met and had great conversations with, thank you. You've really, really made my day.
Yeah, this is what I like to call city deer. You are just way too used to people, aren't you? God, we live in a cool place.
Yeah. We caught some fish. Oh. But wait, there's more.
Have to make a little room for this one.
Losing fish. Losing fish. Oh. Here we go.
I don't want to brag or nothing, but that's 85 fish. That was a session.
Well, when you factor in the first night and add them together, this was one heck of a trip.
Well, I don't know if you've been following along this summer or not, but an 85 fish day is a darn good day of fishing. They decided 3 of them were a 1/16 of an inch short, so I got credit for 82, making it my best day of the year. It was a ton of fun. The weather cooperated, wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold, and I have absolutely nothing to complain about. And I hope you've been enjoying these videos, guys. I hope I've given you enough value to maybe consider subscribing if you haven't already. As always, throw me a like, throw me some comments. I love comments. You know I respond to them. I love giving people help. I like giving out tips, so feel free to comment and join in on the conversations we're having. Anyway, another fun trip in the books. I'm about to head to Banks Lake for some burbot fishing for the next few days. And I'll be back down on the Columbia in about a week. I hope you all have great fishing and stay safe out there. Tight lines, everybody. Well, you know my theory on things, guys. If you made it this far, then you must be a hardcore nut of a fisherman. And I sure appreciate you because you're my people. Anyway, I just got back from my burbot and whitefish trip. I've got a bunch of salmon trips in the books coming up. I still have another month of pikeminnow fishing, so stick it out. Stick with me, guys. More good stuff on the way. And as always, I appreciate you. And one final thought, tight lines to all my fishing nuts out there.